I believe there are 111 PlayStation 3 Platinum games released here in the PAL region, but I was wrong. There is at least 112. Welcome to the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. Let the games begin. Again, folks, and welcome back to the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. My challenge for 2025 is not only find every single PlayStation 3 Platinum game released here in the PAL region, but to finish the story and find the remaining PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 Platinum games which I still need for my collection. And this time we are hitting the road to Leeds Gaming Market, but that's not all. We'll also be hitting up a few CEX stores, and this time we find a game which is not on our original list of PlayStation 3 Platinum games and a real rarity to add to the collection. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button and please subscribe. So I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. If you ever miss an episode of the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy, fear not, I'll link them all down below in a playlist. Here we go then, our first gaming market of 2025 for the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. And this time we are heading to Leeds. And it was a very early start, around 5 AM when we left Norwich to head to this first gaming market. We got there nice and early. And this was mainly to beat the crowds, and honestly because for once the traffic was very, very quiet. So we arrived about 45 minutes before the doors opened, and as you can see, this is a really nice part of Leeds, right on the canal, and we were some of the first people queuing up for the games market, which is always good because the bargains go very, very quickly. But you can see a decent sized crowd started to form just before the market opened at 10:30 AM, and we were going to be some of the first people inside, and I was hoping to find some PS3 Platinum games. If you missed my previous video from Leeds Gaming Market, I had this one piece of advice. If you are hunting at a gaming market, when you first go in, head to the back of the room. That's because more often than not, when people go to gaming markets, they will just start at the first table you see, and especially this early at a gaming market, it can get very busy very quickly. So if you head to the back of the room, it's going to be quieter, and you will have the first pick of some of the best items, which will be at the gaming market. Now, of course, this time at Leeds Gaming Market, we are not just looking for PlayStation 3 Platinum games, we are also looking for those missing PS1 and PS2 Platinum games, which we need to complete the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. And straight away, look at this massive selection of PS2 games. Now, thankfully, because they're all displayed with the spines facing out, it's nice and easy to see the Platinum games. The same goes for the PS1, but spoiler alert, this time I did manage to find any PlayStation 1 Platinum games which we needed for the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. Not even Silent Hill, which I normally see at gaming markets like this. It's one we still need to pick up, but just due to the absolutely eye-watering price tag of around £100 for the Platinum version of that game, it's one I'm saving for right at the end. But it didn't take us long to find some PlayStation 3 Platinum games hiding amongst the standard versions of these games. First off, we had Heavenly Sword, an absolutely fantastic PS3 exclusive, and also Infamous, another incredible exclusive from Sony. But this was the thing, there wasn't a large number of PlayStation 3 games here at Leeds Gaming Market, let alone Platinum games, which was a bit of a worry. But I'm half wondering if, when it comes to hunting for PlayStation 3 Platinum games, maybe there isn't going to be many Platinum games at gaming markets. I'm expecting not many people are going to gaming markets looking for PlayStation 3 Platinum games, which means a lot of sellers may not bring them along. Obviously, when you are selling at a gaming market, you have a finite space, and maybe they don't want to fill that space with something that a lot of people won't be looking for. So maybe gaming markets aren't going to be the best place to find, especially PlayStation 3 Platinum games. But of course, I'm going to keep hunting, especially for PS1 and PS2 Platinum games, because you are seeing here, there's a lot of PlayStation 1 games here at Leeds. So that was Leeds Gaming Market. No luck on the Platinum hunt, but trust me, on the way home, we stopped at a couple of CX stores and we managed to find a surprisingly large amount of PS3 games, so stick around for that. So unfortunately, we didn't have much luck PlayStation Platinum hunting this time at Leeds Gaming Market, but trust me, I managed to find some amazing games while I was there, and I'll link that separate episode in the description down below. But trust me, on the way back from Leeds, we stopped a CEX store which had the absolute motherload of PlayStation 3 Platinum games, but more about that later in the episode. First off, we have some incredible games which have been sent in by you incredible viewers. It has blown me away over my Platinum collecting how many people have helped out, either selling, donating or trading games for the collection. We have two more to cross off the list here. And the first one comes from Stephen. He reached out on Instagram to say he had a game which we still needed for the Platinum Trilogy, and it is this game right here. I would say an absolute banger prototype. Now, if you've never played this game, it's absolutely incredible. It is like a sandbox, free roaming action adventure game. Imagine if you were playing GTA, but you were Venom. It's so cool. You get so many special powers. It's an absolutely fantastic game, and definitely one to check out on the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. An absolutely incredible game, which does also have an incredible sequel. Next up, we have another two games which have been sent in this incredible packaging. I love this kind of shiny bubble wrap, and there is a note for these two. So let's see if I can find the note. So it says, "Good luck, find the rest. Love watching the channel. All the best, Bear Swansea." So thank you, Bear Swansea, for these two games. The first of which is another absolutely incredible sandbox adventure, GTA 4. And both of these games are in absolutely immaculate condition. Like, the condition of these is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for this game, and also thank you for Race Driver Grid, again in absolutely breathtaking condition. Disc has come loose, but these things happen. So yeah, massive shout out to both of you for sending in these games which I still needed for the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. Now, of course, with the Platinum Trilogy, we are not only trying to find every PlayStation 3 Platinum game released here in the PAL region, we're also trying to find the remaining PS1 and PS2 games which I need for my PlayStation Platinum collection. And we have one more to cross off here for the PlayStation 2 collection. So at the end of the last episode, we still had 32 PlayStation 2 Platinum games to find. But now we have 31. In here is a game I've been looking for a very, very long while, and when this one popped up on eBay, I had to bite the bullet and just grab it straight away. This game is Soul Calibur 3. Now, to the best of my knowledge, this was only released in Germany. This is probably why this one's been very hard to find, and this is in incredible condition. I'm just praying this has the correct Platinum disc. Now, obviously I had to import this one from Germany, and let's see if it's a win. I can't see from here. It is a win. We have the manual and the Platinum disc, which means we have just 31 PlayStation 2 Platinum games to find to complete the Platinum Trilogy. As I mentioned earlier in this episode, on the way back from Leeds Gaming Market, we did stop in a couple of CEX stores, the first of which was Leeds White Rose, which is one of the largest CEX stores in the area and also has one of the largest PlayStation 3 selections I've seen for a very long while. So I'm hoping, after finding no Platinums at Leeds Gaming Market itself, hopefully here we can find a few games to cross off the list. And it doesn't take us long to find our first Platinum games, Dirt and Dirt 2. Now, we were gifted Dirt 2 in the first episode of this series, but we still need Dirt for the collection. So hopefully when we take it up to the counter, it will have not only the correct disc, but also the manual. That's because when you are hunting for PlayStation 3 or any PlayStation Platinum games, you have no guarantee they'll have the correct disc. So far then, we have one PlayStation 3 Platinum game to take up to the counter, but let's hope we can find a few more here at Leeds White Rose. And like I said, this is a fairly large selection of PlayStation 3 games here. There we have Far Cry 2, but this one didn't have the manual, so I did decide to pass. That's because with all of these games on the shelf, normally you can just open them up and see if they have the manual, like Sniper does here. So that's one we're also going to take up to the counter. I believe, in my heart of hearts, that PlayStation 3 selections all around the UK in CX are definitely
getting smaller. So it's very good to see this large selection of PlayStation 3 games here at Leeds White Rose. But we're not having too much luck so far finding Platinum games. We're finding either no games or games we already have in a collection. But we do need Race Driver Grid, so we'll check this one. It does have the manual, but we'll once again find out when we take it up to the desk if it has the correct disc. I would say more often than not, it's about 50-50 if it has the correct disc, which is surprising and also quite worrying for people who buy the standard version of the game. Are they unknowingly getting the Platinum disc? I guess we'll find out. Our final stop on the return journey from Leeds Gaming Market was CEX Morley, and I must admit I didn't have high hopes of finding many PlayStation 3 Platinum games in here just because the store was fairly small. But if I've learned one thing over my years of game hunting, it is not to judge a CEX store by its size, you judge it by its contents. As you can see then, this is a fairly small CEX store and, somewhat unsurprisingly, had a very small selection of PlayStation 2 games. Now, of course, I am still hunting for those last elusive PlayStation 2 Platinums, which I need in any CEX store I visit, but I wasn't prepared for how small the PlayStation 3 section was in this store. Like I said, I am seeing all around the UK that these PlayStation 3 sections are getting smaller and smaller, but much like judging a CEX store by its size, you shouldn't judge a game section by its size as, spoiler alert, I could not believe how many Platinums were in this tiny section. As you had seen, Leeds White Rose had a fairly sizable PlayStation 3 section, and spoiler alert, we only managed to pick up 2 Platinum games from that store, but so far, here in Morley, we are building up quite the stack of PlayStation 3 Platinum games. There are so many here. This was a really good surprise. It was like getting very late in the day by this point, and I was tired, but this just gave me that last spark of energy for that last bit of game hunting for the day, and we managed to build up a veritable stack of PlayStation 3 games in this final store, which, after a day where so far we'd only managed to find 2 Platinum games, was an absolutely fantastic way to end a day of hunting. And honestly, it did take me by surprise how many PlayStation 3 Platinum games we found in this first store, but it is very early days in this challenge, and this is just a great way to really get the numbers up. You can see there's just so many Platinums here. At the end of the day in Morley, we managed to pick up 8 Platinum games. But like I said earlier, it all depends on how many of these games have the correct Platinum disc. There's only one way to find out. Let's take them up to the counter and we'll head back to the games room and find out how many are complete.
On the way back from Leeds Gaming Market, then, we hit up 2 CEX stores, one of which will feature in a brand new episode of the Crazy World of CEX coming very, very soon to the channel. Now, in the first store, Leeds White Rose, we picked up just 2 PlayStation 3 Platinum games, which is quite a surprise as it's the largest CEX store in and around Leeds. The first game is Colin McRae Dirt. Now, this one's not in too bad a condition. It has a few stickers. It is, of course, complete with the manual. Now, I have decided over the course of the Platinum Trilogy so far that I am going to try and get these games with the manual because there isn't a specific Platinum manual, it's just the standard manual. The second game we picked up, talking of stickers, is Sniper Ghost Warrior, and on the front it doesn't seem too bad. Then on the back it has all of the stickers in the entire world, which isn't a bad thing because honestly I find it quite therapeutic removing these stickers from CEX games. But the question is, at the second CEX store we visited, Morley, of the 8 games we picked up from the shelves, how many had the correct Platinum disc? In CEX Morley, we found 8 PlayStation 3 Platinum games on the shelves which we needed for the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. Now, I would say it's about a 50% success rate when you are hunting for PlayStation 3 Platinum games in CEX. I'm very happy to say out of the 8 games we picked up off the shelves, we have 6 to cross off the list this time, which is absolutely massive. It is a very good stack to cross off the list of 111, or should I say 112 games, which we need for the PlayStation 3 Platinum library. The first game we have here is Call of Duty World at War, which is slowly sneaking up in price. One of the best things about the PlayStation 3 Platinum Collection is a lot of these games are super cheap. We also then have Mafia 2, which, like I said, is complete in absolutely fantastic condition. Then we have a real hidden gem of a racing game, a franchise which Sony needs to bring back, MotorStorm. This is one of my favourite games I played when I first experienced the PlayStation 3, and it's just a fantastic game which does have a couple of sequels which did get a Platinum release. So we will be talking about this franchise more over the course of the series. Speaking of another series that Sony's kind of let die, we have Infamous, an absolutely fantastic, again, sandbox game where you have superpowers, and brilliant game. And then we have a game from another franchise that Sony let die. Haven't had a game since the launch of the PlayStation 4. Killzone 3. Absolutely fantastic first-person shooter. So many people haven't experienced Killzone, and it's definitely worth checking out. And finally, as a wrestling fan, very happy to cross the second wrestling game off the list in as many episodes with SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. An absolute banger of a wrestling game.
All throughout my PlayStation Platinum collecting journey, I have tried to shine a spotlight on as many of the amazing independent gaming stores we have here in the UK as possible. And this time, we are just down the road from Norwich at the Game Cave in Dereham on the hunt for PlayStation 3 Platinum games. And they had a really good selection here, and even better, they had a massive bin of games here, which were all free for £5. Let's hope we can find some Platinums we need here. And of course, they have the correct Platinum disc. But unfortunately, it did seem a lot of the games in this selection, somewhat unsurprisingly, were fairly common titles. The Game Cave had an absolutely amazing selection of video games, not just for the PlayStation 3. They have everything from Atari to Xbox and everything in between. Now, unfortunately, this time I couldn't find anything we needed for the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy, but I just love visiting stores like this. Every independent gaming store here in the UK is different and special in its own different way, and the Game Cave in Dereham is an absolutely fantastic store. If you're in the area or willing to travel, it's definitely worth paying a visit. I managed to find some great games here, but that's a story for another time.
We're coming to the end of this episode, but we still have some very exciting games to add to the collection this time. The first of which is a variant, and this is a subset of the PlayStation 3 Platinum Collection, which I was on the fence about collecting, but the completionist in me just feels like I need to have these to have the complete PlayStation 3 collection. Now, this is the first of 7 double packs which were released under the PlayStation 3 Platinum label, and this one is Uncharted and Uncharted 2 box set. Now, this includes Uncharted Drake's Fortune and Uncharted 2 Among Thieves in this Platinum branded slipcase. Like I said, there are 7 of these box sets available for the PlayStation 3 Platinum Collection. And I managed to pick this up off Vinted for 20 quid plus postage, which is really, really good. But what I kind of looked over when I picked this up is, of course, it does have both games. We have Uncharted here, of course, with the Platinum disc and Platinum manual. Now, to the best of my knowledge, there's no difference in this Platinum release from the box set than the standard version, which means this is pretty crazy, because this copy of Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is still factory sealed. This is a brand new PlayStation 3 game in 2025. Now, I am not a sealed collector, so honestly, I am tempted to just simply go and buy another cheap copy of this to complete the box set and sell this sealed game. So, if you are a sealed game collector, let me know in the comments down below, as I will be selling this one and just replacing it and completing the first of these 7 game double packs. Which brings us on to our final pickup this time. And like I said at the start of this episode, to the best of my knowledge, there were 111 PlayStation 3 Platinum games released here in the PAL region. But this game right here begs to differ. Does this mean there is 112 games to find for the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy? Now, I literally stumbled across this game while searching on eBay, newly listed for PlayStation 3 Platinum games, trying to find some cheap games to pick up for the collection. when I found this one. It came from Germany. It was fairly cheap, about £8, but I never knew this game got a platinum release, and that game is Borderlands. Yes, the original Borderlands. Now, on my list of 111 games, I do have Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. Now, is this the standard version of the game or the Game of the Year Edition? Is it a variant and a separate platinum release? It has standard platinum disc, standard manual, so I believe this is another game to add to the list, meaning there is 112 PlayStation 3 Platinum games. There we have it then, folks. That is another episode of the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy and 12 PlayStation 3 Platinum games to add to the collection, as well as some variants and one game to add to that list of now 112 PlayStation 3 Platinum games, which we need to complete the Platinum Trilogy. But that's not all. We also crossed another PlayStation 2 Platinum game off the list. And this is the fun part about this challenge. At the start, numbers like this are going to be common. We are going to be picking up double-digit games, but it's only to get harder from here as we get less and less games to find, and the games we still need to find become rarer and rarer. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and join me next time for the next episode of the PlayStation Platinum Trilogy. Let the games begin. See you all soon.